Hi, my name is Katie, and I'm going to talk about layering today. So when picking out the clothes that you're going to bring with you on your overnight in particular, it's super important to think how they'll fit together to keep you as warm and as comfortable as possible. So the first thing that I like to pack when I'm packing my overnight bag is what I'm going to sleep in. And I like to sleep in my long underwear. There's a couple of reasons for this. One, it's nice and toasty while I'm sleeping. And two, I then have my long underwear if I need it in an emergency during the day. So I like to have a thermal long sleeve as well as a thermal legging. And again, I like to layer those things throughout my trip if needed, but I do like to reserve them for sleeping. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is what you're going to be wearing day to day for hiking, and so you want to have all of your bases covered there as well. I have a tank top that I usually like to bring, and then another thermal long sleeve just to make sure that I'm super toasty. You can bring a t-shirt as well, or instead of a tank top, but it's really important, as with all of these items, to make sure you know what the t-shirt is made out of. So this is not one that I would bring because it's 60% cotton and 40% polyester. So you want to make sure you stay away from any cotton as much as possible. So the thing about cotton is that it absorbs any moisture, so when you're sweating, it just absorbs into the garment, and then your body is then using the energy to keep it warm rather than yourself warm. Polyester and wool, on the other hand, or anything synthetic, will wick away the moisture, so you'll still stay warm even if the garment is a little bit damp. So that's why you don't want to pack anything cotton in your overnight bag. The last sort of top layer that I like to have is a fleece. The fleece is also really good at wicking away moisture and also keeping you warm. Something to keep in mind is how bulky it is. So I like this one in particular because it's nice and thick, but it's not too bulky, and so will pack nicely into my pack. As far as what I like to wear on the bottom when I'm hiking, it kind of depends. If you would like to hike in tights, you are more than welcome. I personally like to avoid it. One, they don't seem to wear as well as far as dirt, and they also are not quite as durable. So it's something to keep in mind that you're going to be potentially at times bushwhacking, and a tight might just snag on something and rip. Whereas something that has a bit of a tougher material would be a better option. It also just wears the dirt a little bit better, so that's why I prefer that. Now, last but certainly not least are your socks. I personally like to have one pair of socks that I sleep in only, and that's also my emergency pair of socks. And then the number of sock pairs that I bring on top of that would depend on the number of days that I'm hiking. So on a 3-day trip, I might bring 2 pairs of socks, whereas on a 9-day, I might bring 4 or 5. Just really depends on your personal comfort level as well. So something to keep in mind when buying socks is the cotton rule also applies there as well. So merino wool is a really great option if possible. They're antibacterial and they're more comfortable, and they'll once again wick away the moisture from your foot, and so you'll be less likely to get blisters. Now on to rain gear. So the rain gear is going to go over everything, so you want to make sure that it's big enough that you can layer it properly, and you want both sets of rain gear. So you want rain pants, once again, big enough to go over anything that I'm wearing, and my hiking boots, and a raincoat. Also a super important piece of personal equipment. I would be wary of anything that is water resistant, that is not waterproof. Water resistant is great, but you need to have a waterproof backup either way. Alright, I hope that this has been helpful to outline all of the things that you need. It's also really important to keep in mind not to bring too much and to bring only the necessities. Anything extra is only going to take up room in your pack and is only going to make your hike a lot harder. So trying to really narrow down to a science almost what your personal pack looks like.